New York.
Let's talk.
It's incredibly frustrating, but it's also telling to see the way the media has the capacity to major in the minors, to take a comment as they did, and take it all the way to the cable airwaves and make a controversy when, in the very same week, the father of the terrorist who took 49 lives in Orlando attended a Hillary Clinton rally.
All right, Sandra and Cohen, which stories networks choose to put first? Tuesday night, the major broadcast networks covered the Second Amendment comments by Trump, more than 7 minutes of coverage total. The fact that Omar Mateen, the nightclub shooter's father, was sitting behind Hillary Clinton, that unbelievable image, just over a minute's worth of coverage on broadcast networks Tuesday night. I'll let you decide. That was an unbelievable image to see him sitting there. Yeah. And I'm not saying that means that Hillary Clinton had something to do with it. That is something worth discussing.
But she had nothing to do with that. He did have something to do. There's a lot of issues with it. But, they make it sad. They're like deranged. There are members of the left and the right who have Trump derangement syndrome. They go absolutely nuts on everything the guy says. I'll tell you, that thing he said about ISIS, Obama, I think that was funny. That was a good jab.
Kennedy, what do you think? The more subtle ways that they influence the news that comes out.
No, that it was based on an op-ed, which is opinion. But you do have media outlets, even the New York Times, admitting that this is something we feel strongly about. And then lastly, Mike Pence and Donald Trump need to stop.
Be Gore to see it. And again, it didn't happen often before that. But you're saying that is a possibility this year based on one model.
Yes, this is a model by Professor Alan Abramowitz at Emory. At the Crystal Ball, we publish all the political science models. They're based on different variables, and if I described it any further than that, John, we would lose your entire audience. So I don't want to do that. I see what happens in the classroom. Yeah. But long and short, John, essentially these models have worked for a long period of time, and they also have worked retrospectively. Here's the problem. As we all know, this is a very unusual matchup. I think you can tell that by the number of books that are going to be written about the Trump-Clinton race once it's over. So even the author of the model that projects a narrow Trump victory doesn't believe his own model. He's arguing with himself about the model, and we're seeing a lot of that this year in political science and outside of political science.
Are you saying you think you wouldn't be able to explain to us estimated regression coefficients? Because that's what this model is based upon. No, basically, it takes a look at the president's approval rating. It takes a look at how many terms a particular party has had in office, and a couple of other factors, weighs them and makes a prediction. Now, according to those predictions, Donald Trump should win, but as you point out, there are some caveats here. Do you want to get into those?
Well, and by the way, I salute you, John. That's a grade of A in any political science.
All I have to do is
get through that.
All I have to do is speak the words, Larry. I don't have to understand them.
Okay. Well, look, essentially, it's based on the shape of the economy, that is the growth in gross domestic product, which isn't very high right now, and presidential popularity, which is a little bit over 50. And as you mentioned, there's a variable about whether the party in power has been in for one term or two terms, and obviously the more terms you accumulate, the more difficult it is to hold on to the White House. So these are some of the factors involved. It's a simple model. The best models are simple because the voter takes into account a certain number of variables, and let's be honest, most people don't sit there analyzing 100 variables when they're deciding how to vote. So the long and short of it is, if you're for Trump, you're going to find some information in the crystal ball that will make you happy today. And if you're for Clinton, you're going to find some information in the crystal ball that makes you happy. And it's rare that I can do that, so I hope everybody takes a look at it.
All right. I want to talk about the Fox News decision team. It has moved 3 states, including Pennsylvania, to leaning Democratic. They had been toss-up states. Now, the other 2 are New Hampshire and Virginia. The Fox News decision team also changed Georgia and Arizona from leaning Republican to toss-ups. So there's a lot more blue on that map than there used to be. Fox News is also putting Georgia on the new battleground state map. None of these developments is welcome for Donald Trump, Larry.
That's correct, and we agree with the Fox News team's decision, your decision desk's decisions on these individual states. We think that is where they're moving. As I always say, it's mid-August. There's plenty of time for changes. There's plenty of time for events that we don't know about now to occur and to affect the vote. But I think the Trump team has to be concerned. Anytime a state that has been as red as Georgia or Arizona or some of the others is moving more Democratic, although it's certainly not in the Democratic column yet, if it ever is.
All right. Just real quickly, I want to show the 13 states where this election is likely to be actively fought, and maybe our director can get it up. Well, if not, we'll save it for another day. Larry Sabato, director of the Center for Politics. There we go. The yellow states are the ones that are really going to determine, basically, the next president. Larry Sabato, thanks very much.